各位听众您好，这里是 iGo News， 欢迎收听美国晚间新闻会诊，孔雀台观点。
Hello there, this is iGo News. Welcome to our U.S. nightly news summary from a Peacock Channel perspective.
晚上好，各位观众。
Good evening, everyone.
今晚我们正在追踪这场即将来临的选举季，仅剩几天便将揭晓结果。候选人们正为争取选票进行最后的努力。
Tonight, we're tracking all the latest in what's shaping up to be a historic election season, just days from now, and the candidates are making their last pushes for votes.
副总统卡马拉哈里斯和前总统唐纳德特朗普正奔走于竞选活动中，双方皆将这次选举形容为决定美国未来的重要时刻。
Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump are out on the trail, both framing this election as a defining moment for the future of the United States.
我们将深入探讨这些最终竞选活动中出现的重要议题，探讨其意涵，并分析对味觉选民的可能影响。
We'll dive into the big themes coming out of these final campaign events, explore their implications, and look at the possible impact on undecided voters.
昨晚，副总统卡马拉哈里斯在华盛顿特区登台，向美国民众发表了具有强大感染力的信息，并选择了象征意义非凡的地点——华盛顿特区的椭圆形公园。这也是唐纳德·特朗普在1月6日国会暴乱前对支持者演讲的地方。
Vice President Kamala Harris took to the stage last night in Washington, D.C. with a powerful message for the American people, delivering her closing argument from a location that holds great symbolic value in this election. The Ellipse in Washington, D.C., the same place where Donald Trump spoke to supporters before the January 6th Capitol riot.
以白宫为背景，哈里斯呼吁美国人选择一个优先考量自由、团结与稳定的未来，而非他所描述的分裂与混乱的政治文化。
With the White House as her backdrop, Harris called on Americans to choose a future that prioritizes freedom, unity, and stability over what she describes as a political culture of division and chaos.
在他的话语中，美国人于11月7日做出的选择不仅是两党之间的抉择，而是两种根本不同的国家未来愿景。
In her words, the choice Americans will make on November 7th isn't just between two parties, but between two fundamentally different visions for the country's future.
他敦促美国人翻过冲突、戏剧和分裂的一页，选择团结和一条更好的未来道路。
She urged Americans to turn the page on the conflict, drama, and divisiveness, and to choose unity and a better way forward.
他的信息十分明确，这次选举不仅仅是领导层的更替，而是关乎美国的身份认同。
Her message was clear. This election represents more than a simple leadership change. It's about the identity of the United States.
哈里斯专注于与多元化的选民群体建立联系，特别是女性、年轻美国人和少数族裔社群。
Harris focused on connecting with diverse groups of voters, particularly women, younger Americans, and minority communities.
他的竞选团队在这些群体中投入了大量的外展和参与计划，以增强投票率。
Her campaign has strategically invested in extensive outreach and engagement programs to bolster turnout among these groups.
哈里斯还重申了对直接影响这些社群问题的承诺，如医疗保健、生育权、家庭经济援助和社会不平等问题的应对措施。
Harris also reiterated her commitment to addressing issues that impact these communities directly, such as healthcare, reproductive rights, economic relief for families, and measures to address social inequality.
他概述了打击通货膨胀、增加可负担医疗保健的可及性以及强化劳工权益的计划，将其竞选主张定位为旨在为美国中产阶级及以上提供稳定和安全的政策。
She outlined her plans to fight inflation, increase access to affordable health care, and strengthen labor rights, positioning her platform as one aimed at providing stability and security for the American middle class and beyond.
在拜登总统最近的评论引起广泛关注并激怒了特朗普支持者之后，哈里斯的团队已迅速澄清他的立场， 强调其独立性和新的方法。
In response to President Joe Biden's recent comments that have raised eyebrows and created a stir among Trump's base, Harris's team has moved to clarify her stance, emphasizing her independence and a new approach.
拜登总统的言论已成为竞选收尾阶段的焦点。他曾被录音提及部分特朗普支持者为“垃圾”，似乎是从特朗普在麦迪逊广场花园的集会上听到的喜剧演员言论中借用的词语。
President Biden's comment has become a focal point in these closing days of the campaign, after he was recorded calling some of Trump's supporters garbage, seemingly borrowing a term from comedian remarks heard at Trump's Madison Square Garden rally.
虽然总统澄清了他的言论，表示其针对的是集会上显现的言辞和敌意，而非直接指向特朗普的支持者。特朗普已抓住这一时机，将其与希拉里·克林顿在2016年选举季中臭名昭著的一箩筐的可悲者言论进行对比。
Although the president clarified his comments, stating he was referring to the rhetoric and hostility displayed at the rally rather than to Trump's supporters directly, Trump has seized upon the moment, drawing comparisons to Hillary Clinton's infamous basket of deplorables comment from the 2016 election season.
特朗普的竞选团队迅速采用拜登的措辞来进一步激励其基层支持者，尤其是在宾夕法尼亚州和佛罗里达州这些对于特朗普战略中关键的工薪阶层选民和拉丁裔社区中。
Trump's campaign has quickly adopted Biden's phrasing to further energize his base, particularly in states like Pennsylvania and Florida, where support among working-class voters and Latino communities has been key to Trump's strategy.
在宾夕法尼亚州，前总统特朗普发表了一场充满活力的集会演讲，告诉他的支持者这次选举关乎国家的灵魂和保护美国价值观。
In Pennsylvania, former President Trump delivered a characteristically high-energy rally speech, telling his supporters that this election is about the soul of the country and protecting American values.
特朗普将哈里斯的竞选承诺称为空话，并表示他自己的政策旨在改善每个美国人的生活。
Trump called Harris's campaign promises empty words and argued that his own policies are aimed at improving the lives of every American.
特朗普的演讲强调了他继续为更安全、更强大、更繁荣的美国奋斗的承诺。
Trump's speeches have emphasized his promise to continue fighting for a safer, stronger, and more prosperous America.
他的竞选主张围绕经济改革、能源独立、公共安全和更强大的军事力量承诺。
His platform has centered around promises of economic reform, energy independence, public safety, and a stronger military.
他向支持者保证，如果再次当选，他的政府将优先考虑将制造业工作带回、减少税收、加强边境安全以及降低美国城市的犯罪率等政策。
He assured his supporters that, if re-elected, his administration would prioritize policies to bring back manufacturing jobs, lower taxes, strengthen border security, and reduce crime rates in American cities.
为了与拉丁裔选民建立联系，特朗普的竞选团队加强了在拉丁裔社区的外展，特别是在内华达州和佛罗里达州这些摇摆州。
In an effort to connect with Latino voters, Trump's campaign has intensified outreach efforts in Latino communities, especially in battleground states like Nevada and Florida.
他过去曾强调自己的就业创造、贸易和移民记录在西语裔社群中引起共鸣。他希望这些相同的议题能够吸引味觉的拉丁裔选民。
In the past, he's credited his record on job creation, trade, and immigration for resonating with the Hispanic community, and he hopes these same issues will win over undecided Latino voters.
特朗普的竞选团队认为，他们的政策提供了更大的经济机会和更好的生活品质，尤其是对于移民家庭。
The Trump campaign has argued that their policies offer greater economic opportunities and a better quality of life for immigrant families.
在竞选的最后几天中，特朗普的另一个重点信息是将哈里斯描述为对美国生活方式的威胁。
Another focal point of Trump's messaging in these last days of the campaign has been to cast Harris as a threat to the American way of life.
他指出哈里斯在移民、 医疗保健和气候变迁等议题上支持的激进政策，并表示这些政策会伤害中产阶级家庭。
He has pointed to what he calls Harris's support for radical policies on issues like immigration, healthcare, and climate change, which he says will hurt middle-class families.
特朗普在集会上的语气充满挑衅，有时甚至火药味十足，呼吁对高税、政府过度干预和全球舞台上的美国弱势发出警告。
Trump's tone at the rallies has been defiant and at times incendiary, as he invokes fears of higher taxes, government overreach, and a weaker America on the global stage.
特朗普还针对社会议题动员保守派选民，对保护传统美国价值观表达了强硬立场。
Trump has also seized on social issues to rally conservative voters, taking a hardline stance on what he calls protecting traditional American values.
他在反对扩大堕胎权、支持学校选择权以及倡导回归法律与秩序方面立场坚定。
He's been vocal about opposing expansive abortion rights, supporting school choice, and advocating for a return to law and order.
与此同时，全国的提前投票率飙升至历史新高，数百万美国人已在选举日前投下选票。
Meanwhile, early voting turnout has soared to historic levels across the country, with millions of Americans casting their ballots well before Election Day.
分析人士认为，这种提前投票的激增反映了来自各阶层的选民高度参与和动力。
Analysts believe the surge in early voting could reflect a high level of engagement and motivation among voters from all walks of life.
在乔治亚州、亚利桑那州和密西根州等州，提前投票数量已超出预期。
In states like Georgia, Arizona, and Michigan, early voting numbers have surpassed expectations.
一些专家认为，增加的投票率通常对民主党候选人有利，因为历史上民主党人更倾向于提前投票。
Some experts say that increased turnout typically favors Democratic candidates, as historically, Democrats have tended to vote early at higher rates than Republicans.
然而，特朗普的竞选团队也在积极鼓励其支持者提前投票，认识到在选举日最后冲刺前确保选票的重要性。
However, the Trump campaign has been actively encouraging its supporters to vote early, recognizing the importance of securing ballots before the final push on Election Day.
两个竞选团队都针对预计竞争激烈的摇摆州调整了策略，以最大限度地扩大其影响。
Both campaigns have tailored their strategies to maximize their reach in battleground states that are expected to be highly competitive.
像亚利桑那州、北卡罗来纳州和威斯康星州等州正经历着高额广告投入和基层运动，因为候选人们争取每一张选票。
States like Arizona, North Carolina, and Wisconsin are experiencing heavy ad spends and ground game efforts, as the candidates vie for every last vote.
最新的民调数据显示，许多州的选情仍然难分高下，候选人之间仅有微小差距。
Recent polling data indicates that many states are still too close to call, with thin margins separating the candidates.
这场激烈的选战预计将会到最后一刻才揭晓，每张选票在决定最终结果方面都举足轻重。
This tight race is expected to come down to the wire, with every vote carrying significant weight in determining the outcome.
现在转向经济新闻，本周发布的新数据显示，尽管存在通胀和就业安全方面的担忧，消费者信心仍在上升。
Turning now to the economy, new data released this week shows that consumer confidence is rising, despite some lingering concerns about inflation and job security.
10月的会议委员会消费者信心指数大幅上升，标志着自2021年3月以来信心水平的最大月度增幅。
The Conference Board's Consumer Confidence Index rose sharply in October, marking the highest monthly increase in confidence levels since March 2021.
根据数据，更多美国人对自己的财务状况和整体经济形势感到乐观。
According to the data, more Americans are feeling optimistic about their financial situation and the overall state of the economy.
9月份的职位空缺有所下降，但许多分析师认为劳动力市场仍然强劲，许多雇主正在积极招聘。
Job openings fell in September, But many analysts suggest that the labor market remains robust, with many employers actively recruiting for open positions.
这些经济复原的迹象也融入哈里斯的竞选信息中。他专注于解决中产和工薪阶层美国人的需求，提出旨在强化经济、降低生活成本和改善医疗服务可及性的政策。
These signs of economic resilience have played into Harris's campaign message, which is focused on addressing the needs of middle and working class Americans by proposing policies designed to strengthen the economy, reduce the cost of living, and improve healthcare access.
另一方面，特朗普则认为哈里斯的政策将导致更多的政府干预和更高的税收，这会抑制经济增长。
Trump, on the other hand, argues that Harris's proposed policies would lead to more government interference and higher taxes, which he believes will stifle economic growth.
他承诺将回归其第一任期的经济政策，并称这些政策为美国工人带来了前所未有的收益。
Instead, he promises to return to the economic policies that characterized his first term, which he claims delivered unprecedented gains for American workers.
在国际方面，我们正关注中东的发展。在加沙发生了2次致命的以色列空袭后，当地局势正在升级。
On the international front, we're following developments in the Middle East, where tensions are escalating after 2 deadly Israeli airstrikes in Gaza.
巴勒斯坦当局报告称，这些空袭针对加沙北部的住宅区，至少有93人丧生，其中包括许多妇女和儿童。
Palestinian authorities report that at least 93 people, including many women and children, were killed in these airstrikes, which targeted residential areas in the north of Gaza.
国际社会对暴力的规模表示关切，联合国和其他人道组织呼吁停火。
The international community has voiced concerns over the scale of the violence, with the United Nations and other humanitarian organizations calling for a ceasefire.
拜登政府已派出2名高级顾问前往以色列，会见总理本雅明内塔尼亚胡，希望能缓和紧张局势并努力达成和平解决方案。
The Biden administration has sent 2 senior advisors to Israel to meet with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, hoping to ease tensions and work toward a peaceful resolution.
加沙的持续暴力加剧了人道主义担忧，当地医院据报称不堪重负，食物、水和药品等基本资源濒临耗尽。
The ongoing violence in Gaza has intensified humanitarian concerns, as hospitals in the area are reportedly overwhelmed, and basic resources like food, water, and medicine are running out.
当全世界正面临这些严峻挑战时，美国民众也期待着这个季节轻松愉快的一面。
And as the world grapples with such serious challenges, here at home, Americans are looking forward to the lighter side of the season.
万圣节即将来临，随之而来的是服装、糖果和万圣节电影的兴奋气氛。
Halloween is just around the corner, and with it comes the excitement of costumes, candy, and of course, Halloween movies.
今年恐怖片需求激增，无论是新片还是经典之作，人们都沉浸在惊悚季节的刺激中。
This year has seen a surge in interest in horror films, both new releases and classics, as people indulge in the thrill of spooky season.
如《微笑2》、《异教徒》和《驱魔人》、《信徒》等电影吸引了观众，创下了万圣节季节的票房纪录。
Films like Smile 2, Heretic, and The Exorcist, Believer have captivated audiences, setting record ticket sales for the Halloween season.
同时，家庭们也重温《圣诞夜惊魂》、《女巫也疯狂》和《阴间大法师》等经典影片，享受万圣节的怀旧氛围。
Meanwhile, families are revisiting classics like The Nightmare Before Christmas, Hocus Pocus, and Beetlejuice for a nostalgic trip into Halloween magic.
随着万圣节氛围弥漫，零售巨头们也在为节日做准备，许多品牌正以传统方式与顾客建立联系。目录册。
But as Halloween spirit fills the air, retail giants are also gearing up for the holidays, with many embracing an old-school approach to connect with customers, catalogs.
没错，印刷目录正在意外回归。
That's right, the print catalog is making a surprising comeback.
J.Crew、亚马逊和恢复硬体等品牌正重新推出目录，为顾客提供数字广告无法达到的购物体验。
Brands like J.Crew, Amazon, and Restoration Hardware are bringing back catalogs to engage customers in a way that digital advertising simply can't.
一些零售商报告称，这些实体邮寄物使顾客更能在自己的步调中浏览，并以更个人化的方式发掘产品。
Some retailers report that these physical mailers create a stronger connection with shoppers, allowing them to browse at their own pace and discover products in a more personal way.
零售专家建议，目录可能是吸引那些对数位广告感到疲惫的顾客的有效工具。初步销售数据似乎也显示这一策略取得了成效。
Retail experts suggest that catalogs may be a powerful tool for engaging customers who feel overwhelmed by constant digital ads, and early sales data seems to indicate that the strategy is working.
随着我们迈向11月7日，每一个故事都是不断发展的大画面中的一部分。
As we move toward November 7th, each story is a piece of a larger picture that continues to evolve.
从总统候选人最后的诉求到持续的国际冲突以及季节性的文化趋势，无疑这个选举即将载入史册。
From the final pitches of our presidential candidates to the ongoing international conflicts and cultural trends of the season, there's no doubt this election season is one for the history books.
感谢您今晚的收看，
Thank you for joining us tonight.
请继续关注我们的后续报道、专家分析和最新动态。
Stay tuned as we bring you continued coverage, expert analysis, and the latest updates.
以上新闻资讯整理自孔雀台，由 iGo News 编辑播报。感谢您的收听，期待与您空中再会。
The above news information is compiled from a Peacock channel and presented by iGo News. Thank you for listening, and we look forward to your continued company on the air.